structure of the presentation, and then the rest of the team will make their contributions as they have already prepared. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you so much, DVC R&I. Thank you so much, Chair and the honorable members. So to run you through our presentation this morning, I will look at the Sustainable Development Goals, because this is where we are basing our discussion, the Vision 2030 and the 80th Development Plan. Using our secondary data, we'll identify the problems that are surrounding the teaching of literacy and numeracy, especially in primary schools. And then we look at the disparities between the urban and the rural areas. Then we'll look at the challenges that the teachers are facing. Then we'll conclude by discussing way forward and recommendation. Like I said, Chairperson, we are basing our discussions on the Sustainable Development Goals, especially those that are connected to education. For example, strategic goal number 1, which talks about no poverty, number 3, good health, number 5, gender equality, number 8, decent work, number 13, climate change. And all these goals have to do with education, and so we are saying without education we cannot attain these goals. And so if we have to score in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, perhaps we have to expand access to rural and marginalized communities, promote digital and AI literacy, integrating sustainable development into the curricula, and supporting teacher training aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our discussion also is stemming out of the Vision 2030. This is where we are focusing our discussion, and also the 80th Nation Development Plan, because this is an implementation process. And we are saying the strategic intervention is economic transformation and job creation, human and social development, environmental sustainability, and good governance environment. And for the long term, we are looking for a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030, and the middle term is socio-economic transformation for improved livelihood. I'll now hand over to Dr. Mate.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, honorable members. My submission here is to link what my colleague has talked about in terms of the role of education in development, but also to problematize where the situation is for literacy and numeracy. I'll speak to three things here. The first is the ideal situation. In the ideal situation, we expect that every learner who gets into school must be able to learn to read and to do simple or basic computations in the first early years of school. And then the second aspect is, what is the reality? The reality is brought in by two areas: by the secondary data, which is coming from research and assessments that have been done, and also to look at the primary data which we have collected through a survey. So I'll speak to the secondary data, and my colleagues will speak to the primary data. In the secondary data, evidence shows that our learners are struggling to read and to write, and also in numeracy. This aspect shows that sometimes they operate below expected years of performance. So this is evidenced on the literature that we've gathered in the Southern Africa region under the which is about 15 countries, in Zambia included. And the report has been from 1999 to 2019, in between here. And the assessments that have been done have consistently that Zambia is performing the 15 countries, sometimes completely at the bottom of that. And the ministry conducted its own assessment through what is called early grade assessment. The 15 to about 2020, the results consistently show that learners have challenges in reading and numerals. And in 2015, for example, 65% of grade 2 learners could read a basic word. By 2018, the Ministry of Education assessment showed that there was improvement to about 58%, but it leaves out a 42%. So that shows that the problem exists. Another evidence from SACMEC, which compared the countries in terms of the minimum rate for all this. For example, the basic score, which was an average, was 513 as an average, and Zambian average was at 456.1. That shows below the average of all the 15. When a similar picture was exhibited for all the 15 countries was about 538, but Zambia's average in terms of numerals was 477, again below average. So aspects pinpoints that there is a problem, and therefore when we were tasked to come and share with you, we decided to do a study, and the preliminary results that my colleagues are going to share show what is coming from the schools, which we did just 2 weeks ago. And this, we covered 10 provinces. All the 10 provinces were covered, and close to 134, 133 teachers participated in this, and at primary. And over 63 districts were covered in this, but this is still open. They are still giving us the feedback. But what they've given us is enough for us to share, so that you literally see what is pertaining. And now I share the methodology that we did. We used a mixed method. We collected both qualitative and quantitative data, and the presentation are preliminary, as I've said, and my colleagues now will take us through the empirical data.
Thank you very much. So for the data that is on numeracy, we have 73% of the teachers indicating that learners demonstrated strong number recognition skills. So this is actually reflecting a solid grasp of basic numeracy foundations. And then in addition, 62% indicated that learners are able to count forward and backwards, which is indicating progress in sequencing and operational fluency. 65% indicated that learners can perform addition and subtraction accurately. This is reflecting a solid grasp of basic arithmetic operations, which, Chair, can easily be extended to multiplication and division, because we generally talk about the 4 basic operations, which are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. 54% were confident that learners are able to understand place value concepts. Now, this is a very complex skill and often a challenge for learners at early age, but we are able to record this progress with them. But then we are confirming that there is need for reinforcement in this area, because this is a foundation for further mathematics, just like other key aspects of numeracy. 44% of the teachers indicated that learners can solve simple word problems, while 57% indicated that the learners can demonstrate understanding of basic measurement and basic shapes. The results suggest that learners have a stronger spatial and measurement concepts than in applying arithmetic to problem solving. The results also show that 44% were confident that learners can tell time correctly, and this is reflecting moderate progress in this key numeracy skill. Now, Chair, when it comes to teacher training and support that the teachers are given, 72% of the teachers indicated preparedness to teach foundational numeracy, while 80% indicated being able to use available local resources for numeracy instruction. Now, these results indicate strong readiness in both pedagogical skills and resourcefulness, though we still have a challenge with respect to technology-related aids, which is still posing a challenge for them to demonstrate usage to the learners.
Thank you so much, Chair. I'm presenting data on the teaching of literacy, training and support, and teaching and learning materials. The results from our survey showed moderate development in foundational literacy skills. It indicated stronger performance in early reading abilities and weaker outcomes in advanced literacy and language transition. It was noted that later recognition skills were relative at 71%, followed by word recognition at 68%. This showed that most learners had acquired basic decoding skills, especially in the early grades. However, only 50% of the learners were able to read fluently in the local language, and the same percentage demonstrated adequate reading comprehension, suggesting challenges in moving from basic recognition to fluent and meaningful reading. Writing skills showed slightly better performance, with 56% of learners being able to write simple sentences in local languages. Notably, transitioning to English presented the greatest difficulty, with only 33% of learners demonstrating readiness, highlighting a significant gap. Teacher training. The results indicated that 78% of teachers were adequately trained to teach foundational literacy. They had strong skills in phonemic awareness, phonics, word recognition, fluency, comprehension, and writing in local language. And they also supported transition to English. And then on the teaching and learning materials, the survey highlighted lack of appropriate teaching and learning materials, which included books, literacy and numerous worksheets, real objects, and competence-based aligned resources. It was noted that many schools depended on outdated or insufficient materials. Apart from that, most teachers complained of not having access to technology-related teaching and learning materials, making it difficult to expose their learners to technology. Results from our survey indicated that only 20% of our teachers were able to access technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I now present the rural and urban disparities as a summary. The respondents, who are our teachers who responded to our survey, indicated that the teaching of literacy and numerous seems to have better outcomes in the urban settings than in the rural settings. And the respondents indicated that they face a number of challenges when it comes to implementing the curriculum, both the previous curriculum and the current one, because of a number of issues that my colleague is going to highlight. These are issues that have to do with operationalizing the curriculum and the grassroots. So these issues are mainly showing that there is a gap, and the gap is giving the rural teachers at a disadvantage. My colleague is going to highlight the key challenges experienced by teachers.
Thank you so much. So we did summarize the challenges that teachers are facing in the delivery of literacy and numeracy. So among them, inadequate human resource and teacher capacity gap, language and cultural barriers in literacy instruction, high levels of absenteeism, limited use of technology and innovation in teaching, weak school leadership monitoring and support systems, teacher deployment and equitable distribution, community and stakeholders engagement, lack of teacher motivation, incentives and retention, poor teaching housing and living conditions, slow infrastructure development and learning environments, and lack of teaching and learning materials. So as a way of recommending a way forward, we are saying that there should be equal teacher deployment, distribution and retention, especially in rural areas, equal and timely distribution of the learning and teaching materials, improve technology, electricity, connectivity, and provide computers, especially in rural schools, enhance school leadership monitoring and support systems, introduce early childhood education provision in schools that do not have. And in conclusion, we are saying that the level of literacy and numeracy are relatively low, but we want to appreciate government for coming up with deliberate policies such as the National Literacy Framework and the National Numeracy Framework to ensure that this narrative changes in conformity with the competence-based curriculum. With this conclusion, Chairperson, we are grateful that we are a part of the development of education in Zambia today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Gondwe, for the interesting presentation. Chair, we have the technical team has made their presentation. Now, we particularly want to note that the challenges to do with the rural-urban disparity are only going to grow further with the free education policy. If we do not have more teaching areas. Interestingly, I think this country is generally 60% rural in terms of population, and only 40% is urban. So some of the key responses would areas and more infrastructure. And so with the CDF program that the government has and half years rolled out, facilitate the building of infrastructure in the rural setup, this is only going to help with the access to education. We mentioned that when we looked at the secondary data, the literature, most of the studies are before the year 2020. Zambia was and recorded to be much lower than the Southern African region. But with this current survey we have carried out the last year, this is a 2020, we have actually seen that improve. But of course there is still a lot more work to be done. So I think the trajectory is good. If the government and other stakeholders can continue to do what is currently happening, particularly increasing access to materials. I think my team has also just forgotten to mention that, of course, with the transition to the new curriculum now, a few days ago on ZNBC we had an item that Form 1 and Form 2 materials, that's when they have just finished printing them, and so they will be getting to the education, give them sooner. That now that it's raining heavily, there's a likelihood that that process may take longer. Yes. So on this note, we are grateful that Kwame Nkrumah University has been given an opportunity to interact with this committee on education, science, and technology. Thank you, Chair. We submit.
Yeah, honorable members, you are now free to seek clarification or ask questions. Thank you. Honorable Mutu, then Honorable Daka. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Maguire. Ask me a question. So I'll transfer this question to you.
Thank you. Yes.
And we started governing ourselves. So, Prof, his question was, he was looking at the data that you have provided. On about 2 to 3 pages, Zambia is last. 2 to 3 pages.
Yes.
Zambia last.
Oh, he's doing miss it.
Because some of these countries, they became independent later. Zambia got independence earlier to some of these countries, but they are seeming to perform better. So where do you think, when did this problem start? We are in this problem, yes, but when did this problem really start? Thank you.
Okay. I said Honorable Daka, then Honorable Samuzingiri. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I just wanted maybe more clarity on your presentation when you talked about challenges. Like you as in Nkrumah University, when you talk about teacher capacity gaps, now that we are even dealing with a competent-based curriculum, what have you put in place to teachers that are about to graduate and to those who are already in service? What have you put in place as Kwame Nkrumah? Thank you, Chair. Submit.
Honorable Samuzingiri, I hope you are noting. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is basically a rider on the challenges, which says inadequate human resources and teacher and teacher capacity gaps. Inadequate human resource. Are we talking about the numbers, or what are we talking about? Then when it comes to teacher capacity gaps, is it the competence, or what don't they possess? Because our understanding is that when this recruitment takes place, because the relevant qualifications and is also not only you've just outlined to us teacher capacity gaps. If these are the challenges, so how do we address these challenges in the absence of recommended solutions? And then under the recommendations, you did indicate about professional development. What is it that they need to do in terms of professional development? And also, as a university that produces teachers, have you looked at this issue of capacity building? If we assume that pre-service training, there are still teacher gaps, how can we bridge? Have you looked at the issues of competence-based capacity in terms of CPD, so that as they're teaching, you are able to help in the in-service training, so that if there are any gaps that were identified during the pre-service, they can be bridged through the CPDs. Thank you.
Yeah, Honorable Banda, question, so that then they can answer.
Thank you very much, Chair. Looking at the challenges, language, culture barrier, illiteracy, instructions, what really are you talking about here? Does it mean that perhaps as we employ these teachers, when it comes to deployment, we do not really look at what language they're more familiar with, we just spread them anyway? Could this be the reason? Or perhaps are you suggesting that the government should relook at only deploying teachers in areas where they're supposed to use a language fluently, rather than them being students as well? And my last one is, what could be the difference between now and the olden days? In the olden days, we had no early childhood, but still pupils used to start in grade 1 and used to go to Nkrumah,
and they were fluent in their spellings and maths. But now we're even better because we started from early childhood. But statistics are showing that grade 1 to 4 people are failing to read, write, and actually identify numbers. Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you. And we can go ahead.
And the technical team will address the technical issues. Let me just thank the honorable members for those insightful questions. This presentation is such that we have a fully fledged 52-page write-up, I think, which wasn't printed for the honorable members. What you have in front of you is probably just the slides. So they speak at a top level, very conceptual, but then the actual detail is in the actual write-up. Yes. So with that clarification, I'll now ask the technical team leader to begin to address the other questions. But let me just say, on the in-service training and what we are doing as a university, with the curriculum that has come through the Ministry of Education, all universities, in terms of teacher education. First, we have retrained our staff in competence-based curriculum, so they now have capacity to review our own curriculum for students that we are training, but also so that by the first university students who have gone through the competence-based education at secondary school level in 2028.
Sorry, just there.
We will actually be ready.
Yeah, just there.
Yes.
Made a module for this, or how have you incorporated it into the curriculum?
Initially, what we did was we identified national experts who were particularly behind the competence-based development for the country. We invited them initially to train our staff as trainer of trainers. So our staff are now capacitated. They are reviewing the curriculum in readiness for this particular transition. Short courses, which then will be the basis for us to train the in-service. I think Honorable Alan Banda was referring to that, to train the in-service teachers so that they embrace the competence-based curriculum in the delivery to our PPUs, yes. But I think you also notice that over the years we had time. Joseph have had since 19. Whenever there's a big change, what occurs is that a lot of structural shifts. It takes time to the new ways of doing things. Curriculum also to be. It takes time for the materials themselves to reach the learners. For example, this new competence-based curriculum came in 2023, and we are now. This is we are having the first Form 1 and Form 2 materials being printed in 2026. So you've seen that this transition sort of gets the country to get structural changes to actually take effect, and we hope that this change will stay for some time to come, so that all the systems and before we can start having other changes that are structural in nature.
I have to say, because see,
yes,
when South Africa changed to based,
yes,
there were modules that went. They were go go through.
Very good.
And the teachers had to go through a vigorous training, and from the colleges, from the universities. It was well detailed. And so in Zambia we quickly introduced things, but not really going deep. Because right now, like I'm trying to say, I think what I would have expected is the colleges to have modules. Then they have made really a lot of research on that, which back to the college learners, so that you say, as they go in the field, they are well equipped. Like, I don't know, piecemeal here, piecemeal there, I don't know. It's really very important for us to know, because in Zambia also they talked about outcome-based. But when I looked at what they did, it wasn't really the outcome-based that is so detailed. It was really very shallow, and they called it outcome-based. So even the competence-based, whatever approach you approach, I think we really need to go really very deep so that teachers know how to approach this kind of methodology, you know. So if we don't have it from colleges, if we don't have from universities, modules that will really guide them, then again we are going to approach it from a narrow, shallow point of view. That's just my comment, yes.
You are accurate in your observations and comments. Universities have started now the reorientation of their curriculum, but it takes a bit of time. We are in the process. Our staff have been trained. They are developing the actual modules. We have a teaching methodology course that we run, which now also has begun to offer the competence-based sort of approach to developing our teachers on how to first develop the curriculum, but also to deliver it. That process has begun, but it takes time to settle. With that comment, that overall comment on the presentation, and particularly the question that came from Honorable Allen Banda, I'll now ask my team, technical team leader, you can take the next question, and then you can hand over to our colleagues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much, honorable members of Parliament, for those questions. I'll now ask Dr. Mate to handle a question from Honorable Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutu, where he was talking about where has Zambia missed it.
Thank you, Technical Chair. Thank you, and thank you, members of Parliament. Yes, where did we miss it? It is a full-packed question. Sometimes I will try to be controversial in balance. From where the chair addressed the issue of depth, how much deep are we going? That is what makes reading and numerous. How much deep? I learned in the 1970s. Zambia primary course. That is what we used to call it. Zambia primary course. School, you are not into play. So the aspect of play is cardinal into bringing in the concepts of learning into play before you get them into the book. That part was important because, like you put it, there was no ECE, but we were getting straight into grade 1. But that grade 1 entry was very key. By the end of the first 1 year, you are able to recognize these things, and you are able to. But where did we miss it? Let me get to the issue of the Zambia primary course. When it ended, problems began. If we remember very well, we moved from the Zambia primary course, abandoned that course, and picked what we called ZEBEC. And as we picked ZEBEC, if you remember at teacher training, we picked a fast track of training teachers in 1 year. If you remember that, it was called ZATEC. Teachers were trained in 1 year so that they go back to school, because there was that would help. But you must be able to understand training a teacher in 1 year, and get back to that and say, is the teacher trained in 1 year? Remove the 3 months of holidays, 9 months. So the teacher is trained in 9. The teacher that we sprang through to very quickly every year. We are graduating teachers every year. They are going into for 1 year. Problems arose from there. SACNEC, the SACNEC we are talking about, they assessed the they could not so in a fast track quality. We want quantity. We were left out several times as universities in the issues of the reforms. But because the teachers that we are releasing should go in the classroom and fit in that situation. It's the issue of teaching and learning materials, which we are talking about now. The teaching and learning materials, every teacher must have all the books that are, including today, if you the other is the aspect of these teachers on each one of us for one text read. One or two may read, others are just following what is happening. So the actual hands-on aspect is not the aspect.
But how do you hope to implement competence-based in relation to what is on the ground? Is it possible now in these schools that we have that we can implement competence-based and achieve the results that are expected?
Okay, it is a two-way side. Yes, it is possible, but like we are saying, the books are delaying to arrive. We are told the modules were there, they were designed, they were there. The DVC was just pinpointing that that's when they were printing them. But when did the curriculum start? 3 years ago. So it means the curriculum implementation is ahead, the materials are behind. So that is the issue. So if we want to get there, let's implement, like in our recommendations in that document, we have made a statement that let the materials come at the same time as the curriculum is coming, as the syllabus is coming. We cannot start teaching but you are delayed. So that is where the problem is. So once we do that, we are listening. But if we can roll out these materials in advance, it is possible for us to have it. Because the learner needs the book, the teacher needs the book, the teacher needs the knowledge. Yeah. Once these are matching at the same time, there is no problem. You heard in one area, the teachers themselves saying that there is weak monitoring in the schools. In the detail, as you read, it says, in some schools, the head teachers don't stay in the schools. The head teachers are in the rural schools, but they stay in urban areas. So they don't, sometimes they are not there. So that aspect means there is the laissez-faire in the teaching, and you cannot expect quality if you want quality teaching. So those are some of the things that we are saying we missed. Once we get back, if we were to get back to the ZBEC aspect, we will find, as we want to teach for the first time, you arrive at a school, they give you all the textbooks that you need to have. They give you everything, the entire package, you have it. When you go in the class, you have planned. The other thing I have noticed in government schools from experience, I've been in the teaching from 1997 when I started teaching. For almost 22 years I was teaching. The other thing I noticed is in the good schools where results are good, you will find that a teacher cannot go in class to go and teach before the lesson plan is checked by the HOD or the deputy head. If you follow that, you will find that in such schools, the results are good. But we have schools where the teacher just comes from home straight into the classroom and teach for 1 week, for 1 month, for the whole term. No one is checking. So what kind of teaching and learning is going on? In those days, you cannot teach without being cleared by the deputy head that your lesson plan is adequate. If it is not, you are told, go and replan it and come and teach. So those issues, if we get back to those practices, we get back to teaching and learning, providing these, I can assure you the competence-based curriculum is achievable. Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Daka, you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to find out, more exactly when he mentioned to say curriculum started 3 years ago, and then the printing are done now. But when I had the stakeholders meeting with the heads and the teachers, they told me to say we used to receive books via soft copy. Yes, so based on that, they were trying to justify to say we are on course, because they were just talking about space. Now I also wanted to find out about the books, but they convinced me by saying we used to receive soft copy. Yes, so now that the government has put in place this mechanism now to print the book, so I don't think there is that gap. I don't know. Chair, that's what I wanted to share, because that's what they told me. Yes.
Okay. Honorable Mshanga, something to say? You can note his question, yeah?
Okay, we have noted. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I think for me, it is a reflective question, because the focus we are focusing on is literacy and numeracy.
Yes.
So we want to know, Honorable Chairperson, because as we talk about literacy and numeracy, at the end of the day, there is a pupil at the center of the subject.
Yes.
On the floor this morning, and the pupil at the end of the day is just at the receiving end. So through you, Nkrumah, as a training institution, and an institution that has been training teachers from 1967. That is almost 59 years of your institution being, or that institution being in existence. And this problem is very, very serious and prominent, especially between, as we have put it in your presentation, among the grade 5 to 7-6 pupils. That is according to your presentation. Let's be real here. Where is a problem? Because the pupil is just at the receiving end. We want to be real, so that at the end of the day, the information you give to this committee, as indicated by the chairperson, you have the immunity. Because I've gone through also your recommendations. You have done a research, and I've research on the subject that we are discussing today, especially with the main focus on the teacher, because the teacher is the one who is imparting knowledge in terms of literacy and numeracy to a pupil. So can we be real? What is the problem? Unlike beating about the bush, going round, where is the problem? So that after this committee is concluding with this subject this Friday, and the report to be presented to this nation through Parliament as we start sitting after next week. So where is the real problem? There's a teacher, and then there's a teacher who is a provider of this literacy and numeracy, and then there's this pupil who is just at the receiving end. I submit, Honorable Chairperson.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, and apologies, Chair, I came a bit late. My name is Tuambo Mtinta. I'm a member of parliament for Tezu constituency. So, Chair, I just want to learn something with regard to the conversation on the foundational literacy and numeracy from the standpoint of Nkrumah. But my little understanding of Nkrumah, because I was there, is that your focus is not on training teachers who provide foundational literacy and numeracy. Unless if things changed. I need to be reminded if are you offering any courses on primary degree, or you are doing that now, or you are now providing ECD? They've been introduced now. Okay, that is what I wanted to understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe your mic. We're running out of time. You see, you said main learners in grade 6 are found to be functional operating at grade 3 level. Now, I went to Wacha primary school. I don't know if I can call it secondary or primary. In Kalomo, right in town. I went to 2 schools with some non-government organization. And what I found was shocking. So I observed a catch-up class where there were students from, I think, grade 2, 4, even 5, 3, and they were at level 1, which is the beginning of catch-up. So it was a mixed class, a catch-up class. Now, when I asked them, they told me the school had 1,500 students, pupils, and 700 were in catch-up, which is half this number. So I realized now, a pupil who start from grade 1, 5 years can't read and write. 5 years going to school almost every day, but can't learn how to read, identify numbers, can't add, surely, and half the school. So one would rather say the whole school is on catch up. So and things have really gone wrong here. Things have really gone, and I've looked at the statistics, things have really gone wrong. And this is why we are saying now, our question is, you as Nkrumah now, what are you doing in the curriculum? Because it's both where the teachers have a part to play in this decline. I can't really blame the pupils if it's almost 700 of them unable to read and write, some up to grade 6. Where have we gone wrong? Because I was shocked. I worked outside the country. When I came, we opened a private school. So we didn't have the number to reach to get 15 students to write an exam in grade 7. So we thought, okay, we bring students from government schools, we allow them to learn for free. We gave them a test. A lot of them couldn't even write their names. That was the best shock when I came back to the country. The first shock. Are these really true grade 6? Yes, they couldn't write their names. Majority of them. And so we have really a very big, because we can't keep somebody for 5 years. They are not learning. They go every day. They buy uniform. Parents buy clothes. Take them to school. Give them packed lunch. And they are not learning anything. So what are you doing as Nkrumah to bridge this gap in terms of your curriculum and approach to education? And then your statistics are actually better than the non-governmental organization. Yours, from what I've listened, they are actually better, mild. But what the non-governmental organizations are giving us, the statistics are really bad. So what should we really do? And then I wanted to know, in your preparing these teachers to be, how do you approach on the teaching methods? Because there are many approaches, outcome-based, there's competence-based, there's this, that. Do you only teach them the one, do you only give them a module of the one that is current in the country? Because this again might change. It might change. And in my view, a teacher must be prepared with many methods approach. But we emphasize on the one that is current, so that in case there is change, it's not completely new. Do we do as colleges a research in the methods that are being used in the world, so that we expose our educators into these methods, so that in case the government changes to say, now we're taking this approach, then they are well equipped. All they need are just workshops. And why why do we take so long? You have mentioned 3 years. Every time it started at 3 years, but when it comes to now implementation, we are always not ready. The other time when the syllabus changed, when Sata was still president, we were using the draft syllabus. I don't know where the delay was. We were given the draft, which was pending to change and be adjusted. But we have not seemed to change. Even now, we are very slow to implement this change properly. 3 years, we still have issues of perfection. Honorable Mchanka.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. DVC and your team, I just want to add on the questions and the reflection from or by the chairperson of the committee. For 5 years, that's what he has indicated. For 5 years, these pupils were not able to write and read. I have a very real life example. Here is a pupil in grade 3. Term 1, they don't perform well. The parents and guardians say, okay, let's see maybe what will happen in term 2. Term 2 is the same. Okay, let's see what will happen in term 3. Term 3, the performance is the same. Okay, let's wait and see after this child graduates from this grade to the current grade to the next grade. The situation is the same. And a training institution, like I've already indicated, training teachers for the past 67 years. And then apart from that, even the research that you did, this document that you have presented to us, especially on the challenges. Okay, some of the challenges, yes, they can be heaped on the government, maybe through Ministry of Education. But for me, I'm trying to be real. Most of the challenges have to be heaped on the, especially issues to do with assessment. After these teachers, they are trained, they are churned away from your institution into schools. Is there any deliberate program that you are undertaking as a training institution, maybe just to make a follow-ups, especially focusing on this subject that is before us today? The chairperson has talked about 5 years, and the scenario in his constituents, that Wacha Primary School, the scenario in his constituents is more or less the same in all the schools, maybe even countrywide, and that's why today we are looking at this subject as a nation through this committee. So where is the problem? Again, I reflect back. I submit, Honorable Chairperson.
Yes, I think really, final, just my last comment. You see, when a child is born, they can't walk, they can't talk. Yeah, and each parents, the mother, father, do that job. So they raise them, they teach them how to sit, stand, walk, run, and talk. In various languages, in Nyanja, in Tonga, in Bemba, Lozi. Parents who are not trained to make these kids speak, talk, do this learning. Why are schools failing? 6. I have a child now at one school who was in, and is being taken out to grade 3. But this new school said this grade 3. And the parents have been spent, but look, we give the exercise, come sit here, see. So why are we failing? That's why these are really, I think, real situations that your institutions can really help a lot in coming up with, a different approach that can make these kids learn. Yes. Okay, thank you. We're done now.
Those are really reflective questions. Very important issues you have raised, and the solutions are multifaceted. There is no one silver bullet. It's the way the teachers are trained, It's the process of developing the new curriculum and how to roll it out in terms of implementation. Are the materials accessible? I lived with a niece in my house for 14 years. I got that niece from my brother. She came to be in grade 5. They said she had no capacity to be in grade 5. They moved her back to grade 2. What we did was we bought all the books that the teacher was, and she was doing homework, and we were helping her solve those questions at home. This child finished her grade 12, and she's now an independent person in the process. Now, you can see there that there is a teacher involved. There is access to material that is an issue. My last born has just gone into grade 10 at Fatima. A week ago I needed to buy all the materials that is required for grade 10. And interestingly, the materials are inaccessible on the market. Some of the printing hasn't occurred and all that. But we notice that every child we have raised, if the child has access to all the material at home, the child has access to all the material in the school, and the child has access to the material the teacher uses in the school, and the teacher is trained properly, this tripartite arrangement always produces a child who has capacity to succeed in the school system. So government has a role to play, training institutions have a role to play, the parents themselves have a role to play. I did my primary school in Sokotwani village from grade 1 to 7, taught by one teacher from grade 1 to grade 7. And that year when I passed to go to grade 8, I was the only child who passed to go to grade 8 in that primary school. But the point is that we had a competent teacher in those years. We had access to material through the teacher, but our grandparents were not competent enough to help us deal with the homework, but the teachers had access to all the materials which they introduced us to, and there was a time when we would do the homework from school. So there are a number of mechanisms that we need to ensure that are playing out continuously in our educational system for us to achieve the results that we want. So there is no one single answer that will solve all these problems at once. It's a combination of different stakeholders playing their role competently that will get us to have these results. Dr. Kwame wanted to comment on the issue of the teachers accessing.
Time. I'll give him just be the last. Please.
Yes, Dr. Kanchile, you had a response to the issue to do with the new curriculum where the modules are being received online, virtually, and the teachers saying that they are okay with that mode of access to material. You had a reaction to that. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe before she comments, Magoe, you could do. You can combine it. We have run out of time.
I think, Chair, it has every been covered. I think he has responded every, because I wanted to just re-emphasize on the point of the dimension that the Constituency Development Fund has brought, more especially in the construction of the new schools that we have constructed, and also ZOCS, how it has provided the early childhood education, because it has provided enough shelter. Now, the challenge that I've always sort of is related to the methods that are being used, more especially that you are now trying to put a degree at that level, but a degree will just be a degree if it is not transformed into practice, because what is more inevitable that in as much as we can be able to put, but if the method that is being used towards achieving what we desire is not good enough for us to change the dimension, I can assure you it will just be theory, and at the end of the day will not achieve what we want. So basically, the question has been covered, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think briefly, we have run out of time. We can comment, Madam, then we close.
Thank you, Chair. In summary, having a technological tool does not equate to knowing how to use it. So it's possible that you could have a resource but not be able to access everything that is put on that resource. So this is why, even from the data that we have collected so far, our teachers have indicated not being able to use the technology, where we received a 20% to that effect, referring to technology. So this feeds back into our teacher preparation, because it also speaks to what we need to focus on, preparing them to make good use of the technology that they have available before them, and then use that to learn what they need to learn and also transmit that to the learners. So it is not a one-way stream. They have the technology, they have a phone, they have the information on the phone, so they can use it. Some, it is even just the issue of accessing that same document. So there's a lot that goes on into preparing our teachers in that respect. That is why we keep speaking to technology. The competence-based curriculum is speaking to technology as well, and we are hoping that with the technological tools being availed to the teachers, and hopefully also in the rural areas, we'll be able to do a lot more with that. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, and last word before we close. Your mic.
The mic, thank you. Chair, we are very grateful. It feels like we can actually go on because this is an important national issue. It affects all of us. We have children, we have nieces, we have nephews whose development we are concerned about, and they represent the future of this country. The more educated we are as a nation, the more we are likely to be productive. Therefore, we are to invest with the times and make better decisions. So we are very grateful as the Kwame University. You have asked very thought-provoking questions. We have engaged productively with the honorable members of Parliament. We hope that the report we have written will be put to good use, summarize the submissions you have received as well. So thank you so much. We stand ready to continue to engage with the in future policy and legal developments. I submit, Chair. Thank you so much.
My last word: a child is born to parents who have not degrees, run, and schools that have textbooks, buildings, degrees, master's degrees, doctors, were unable to teach the children for 5 years. The parents, each parent, able to do this in 4, 5, 6 months. Really, a big homework. And one thing I've noticed is that getting textbooks. Africa gathered the whole education issues. I saw in Ghana textbook, but here the only text are questions without quickly do them, and children buy, but you don't see textbooks. You don't have a variety of textbooks. So it is upon you people to be writing textbooks. Yeah, write books which we can read. You have a lot of knowledge which you can share in many aspects. In schools, we want to see books in shops. You were saying when you wanted to go and buy it to a bookshop, you couldn't find a variety of textbooks because people are not writing. So Nkrumah, always appreciate your contributions, and thank you very much. You take this very seriously. That's the way it should be. I think we have a problem to solve. We appreciate your coming, and we'll write the report according to how we have submitted. And now that we have come to an end of our meeting, I now remove Cap 12. I wish you a safe trip. Thank you very much.
TV, the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. And that was a submission from Kwame Nkrumah University, and the University was led by Professor Bruce Muya, who's the Deputy Vice Chancellor and was the delegation leader. Just a reminder that the Committee on Education, Science and Technology is reviewing the state of the foundational literacy and numeracy levels in primary schools. So in a short while, we'll take a break and then later come up and broadcast to you live the next meeting that is scheduled to take place. And we do have the Save the Children Foundation, which is the next witness that is expected to make a submission to the Committee on Education, Science and Technology. Once again, the topic is reviewing the state of the foundational literacy and numeracy levels in primary schools. So for now, we take a break. We'll be with you in a short while. Stay tuned to Parliament TV as we continue bringing Parliament closer to you.